Hey, if you've got a Yoder smoker with this controller on it, you can upgrade it to one with Wi-Fi. I did it. I've got some pros and some cons to it, so let's chat about it. So I've had several grills that have had Wi-Fi capabilities and apps on the phone. Usually it's been the Green Mountain grills. I currently have a Davy Crockett, which is a small one, and I've also had Daniel Boone's and also the Jim Bowie versions. So all of those, I controlled them from my phone. They were great. I was able to connect them to Wi-Fi and then just run the app. I could run programs, so I could say, hey, I've got a brisket in here. I want to run it at 225 degrees until it hits 170 degrees internal temperature. And then at that point, I want it to kick up higher to maybe say 350 or so at the point that I'm going to wrap it, and then have it go down to a keep warm after it hits 205 degrees, let's say. So that all worked out great. I was hoping the same thing was available for the Yoder. So that is my first kind of disappointing thing, was that there aren't any programs that you can kind of off the shelf set. Now, that being said, you can design your own programs for it. So you can go into the app and you can say, based on the temperature of the pit, I want X to happen. I want it to run until it gets to this temperature in the pit, or I want to maintain this temperature in the pit, or your internal temperature of the food. I want to have it go until ribs hit 170 degrees, let's say, and then I want to have it do something different, maybe go up in temperature. Or maybe it's a brisket and you say, hey, I want it to run at 225 degrees until I hit 170 degrees, and I want to crank it up to 300 degrees, and maybe that is until it hits 204, and then after that point I want to have it automatically go down to 150 degrees for a keep warm. So all of that is possible, just a little bit more complicated with the way that Yoder does it, which is you've got the tool, you go figure it out. Second downside on the Yoder with the Wi-Fi is that the temperatures really fluctuate a lot. So up on the screen here, I'm going to put there, you'll see a example of a cook. And you'll see where the temperature really fluctuates. Maybe you set it for 225, but it goes down from 205 up to 235. Really some pretty wild temperature swings. I was expecting that this wouldn't be the case with Yoder, just because of the top end grill that it is, and really the cost for the upgrade. So that's kind of my second thing, is it really doesn't hold those temperatures steady. Now this guy, you would set this thing at 225 and it would vary maybe 1 or 2 degrees. So it really did a great job with the older controller of maintaining those temperatures, but unfortunately not so with the upgrade. So what about some positives? Some positives are being able to see that from your phone, being able to adjust it from your phone, and with some substantial amount of attention, you can set those programs to be able to run as well. So I guess I would say that's a good thing, is the capability. Just unfortunately, as I said before, doing it isn't as easy as it could be. So hopefully Yoder and their partner Fireboard, which actually makes that controller, believe for them, will do something in the future to make downloadable programs. So fingers are crossed for that. So now let's talk about the process to do that upgrade. So there's a few things in there. One, obviously, is you're going to remove this old controller, put the new one in. There's a lot of connections, and the new one has actually got one more connection because it's got a Wi-Fi antenna. So that Wi-Fi antenna goes in the place of where the fuse was before, which is kind of on the front bottom of the grill. Now after the upgrade, if you have a non-competition cart version, you get a new one of these, because right in this area, it's got a place where the fuse holder goes, which used to be in the place that now the Wi-Fi antenna is after the upgrade. So, hey, there's a bonus. You get a new big chunk of metal, and you get to figure out what to do with the old one. There is also one of the fans that is replaced with the new one. and they give you that. And then there's a tube of silicone to actually mount that in and hold that in. The other thing that's new is the location of the temperature controller. So this used to be on the back of the grill, but now they put it in the inside side, the end that's near the firebox. So that means that they give you a couple of screws that you put in place of where the holes were for this one. You have to drill out for the new ones and then put that in place as well. The nice thing is they give you a great template, so all you have to do is fold up that little page, put it inside the grill on that side, and it shows you exactly where to drill those out. So that makes it pretty easy. In fact, all of their instructions were really good, really involved in step-by-step to tell you exactly what to do every step of the way. You end up taking the hopper off of the end, so that completely comes off. First is the end panel, and at that point what I did is I took photos inside just so I could make sure that I knew where all those connections are going to go. Then the next step is you pull that hopper all the way off, and you need to put a piece of insulation. So they give you a really thick piece of insulation that goes between that hopper and right up against the firewall, the firebox, I guess I should say, of the unit itself. I think one of the reasons for that is the back of the new controller has a plastic box around it, as opposed to this one that's got metal on it. So they want to give you some extra insulation, and it actually voids the warranty if you don't put that piece in. As I said, everything was really explained well all the way through, step by step. I think the whole thing took me about an hour and 15 minutes or so to pull the old one, put the new one in, and yeah, again, just great instructions all the way through, everything to plug in. Really almost kind of an overkill, but very welcome to have that great information. There is one other thing which I didn't end up using, which is this little flapper that mounts on the side of the firebox right in front of the hopper, and that is so you can put probes in without scrunching them inside of the lid or anything, and it's a great thing. You should have one of those. I actually upgraded mine last summer and bought one of those. I think that was like a $35 for this little flapper thing, but it worked out great, so have an extra one. I think I'm going to give it to one of my neighbors who's got a Yoder. All in all, am I pleased? I guess I'm pleased with what I've got and doing the upgrade. Am I ecstatic about it? Probably not. I was hoping for better temperature control with this new one because I'd been spoiled by the fact that the old controller held those temperatures just right on, and that was my expectation on this. And then in using Green Mountain grills where they had great profiles that you could download, that just wasn't available either from Yoder, so a little bit disappointed in that one as well. But I sure like the convenience of being able to monitor this one, not just from close distance, that Bluetooth would be, but via the internet. So that means I can go to the hardware store, I can go to a neighbor's house, I can go get groceries, I can maintain those temperatures, I can see exactly what those temperatures are, and I can change those temperatures remotely. And I've done that before, from doing an overnight cook and changing it from the convenience of bedside, all the way from being gone to an outing and being away from the pit for about 3 hours, and halfway through that time adjusting that temperature. All in all, I love my Yoder smoker. I think it's a great piece of equipment. It's heavy duty. It is solid. Love the food that comes off of there. So if you've got a Yoder smoker and you've got the older controller, I hope this helps you make a decision if you wanted to do that upgrade or not. So from Barbecue Plus, whatever grill you've got, if it's got a Wi-Fi controller or not, make sure you go cook something great in your backyard this weekend. And thanks for watching.